have a seat and check in as usual. So just finding that comfortable position, sliding your shoulders down the back, relaxing the jaw. Just take a super deep inhale through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And let's just go ahead and breathe as we check into our bodies. So making sure that every part of your body has been checked into. You want to notice all the parts that are tight and all the parts that feel really good. Check in with your breathing. See if you can deepen it and slow it down a little bit. And then check in also with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your energy. And then let's take all of that information and formulate our personal intentions for practice today. So go ahead and bring your palms together in front of your heart and just pause for a moment and think about or feel what it is that you most need. Clear on your intention, take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. We're going to go ahead and transition onto hands and knees. And do a few cat-cow stretches just to limber up the low back. So you're arching on your inhale, rounding on your exhale. And then on your next exhale, just go ahead and take child's pose. Take a couple of breaths, breathing into the low back. Scoot forward into Sphinx. We're gonna lengthen out, traction the spine. So big toes are touching, heels are separating, and we're just drawing length into the spine, pulling with our forearms. And then we're going to take our first downward facing dog. So go ahead and pedal the feet or wiggle or move. Do whatever you need to do. And then just go ahead and really feel into your downward facing dog today. And just notice, are your hands really spread and flat? In other words, does it feel like you're kind of plugging into the mat? Are your hips reaching up and back? Are your heels reaching down? Do you have space between the shoulder blades and space between the ears and shoulders? Walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Let's just hang and ragdoll for a couple of breaths here. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. We're going to step back with our left foot. Just hold your lunge for a moment. Drop your left knee down. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. And then bring that right hand down to the inside of your right knee. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot. Apply a small amount of pressure. So you want to feel into that outer right hip and inner right thigh. Go ahead and let your knee point up towards the ceiling again. Arms are up and overhead. We're going to tilt the pelvis back, let the hips move forward. And then bring your hands down on either side of the right foot. Fully extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes. And then from here, we'll just take the right knee back to meet the left knee. Wag your tail if you want to, and take a child's pose. From child's pose, scoot forward into Sphinx. And anybody doing full vinyasas, of course, you may take off here. And then we're all going to meet up in downward facing dog. And on this down dog, all I want you to do is just take your hands a wee bit wider than what you normally do. Spread the fingers, flatten the palms, push like you always do. Just notice the difference between this downward facing dog and the first one that you took. And then step forward with your left foot. Just hold your lunge for a moment. Drop your right knee down. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling. Bring the left hand to the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot and apply some pressure. So now you should be feeling left outer hip, left inner thigh. Let your left knee point back up towards the ceiling, arms up and overhead. Kind of tuck the tailbone under and let the hips move forward. So now you should be feeling this in the front of your right hip. And then from here, we're going to take the hands down on either side of the left foot and extend the left leg as straight as you can get it. Flex the ankle and toes. Lengthen your heart forward. And then bend your left knee. Step your right foot forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, back down. I'd like you to step straight back to downward facing dog. So we're going to take the hands even wider than we had them before. I want you to see if you can get your middle finger right at the edge of your mat and have it perfectly aligned. So that means your ring and pinky finger are on the floor, your index finger and thumb, as well as your middle finger are on the mat. Push the tailbone back, press the heels down. Just notice how that feels. Drop down to your knees. We're just going to do a traditional threading the needle. So I want you to take your right arm underneath you. Just keep your left hand where it is. You can kind of press and roll. So you should be feeling this behind your right shoulder blade. Coming out of that, and take your left arm underneath you. Same thing, use your right hand to kind of press into the floor, roll back against that left shoulder blade to get a little bit more stretch. Coming out of that, give your tail a little bit of a wag, and then we're going to move into that half heart opener. Left forearm across the front of the mat. The right arm reaches way out. Your forehead can rest on your left forearm. Tailbone pulls back. So you're creating length through your torso, and then you let that right armpit just kind of drape down towards your mat. You should feel the chest and the tricep on the right side stretching. So kind of like your right armpit is stretching. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Bring your right forearm across the mat. Left arm reaches out. Forehead rests on the right forearm. So you're reaching with your left arm, pulling the tailbone back at the same time to create length on the left side of the torso, and then just letting that left armpit kind of drape down. Coming out of that, hands and knees. Give yourself a little bit of a tail wag. And then we're going to do a couple of from the knees turbo dog push-ups. So the good news is it's from the knees. I'm not going to make you do the hard version today. What I'd like you to do is take your hands back out to where I had you have them a moment ago with your middle finger lined up at the edge of your mat. Ring and pinky on the floor, index finger and thumb towards the center of the mat. From the knees, all I want you to do is start to bend your elbows a little bit and squeeze them towards each other. And I want you to see when you look down at your arms, if you can make your elbows narrower or closer together than your wrists. Take a couple of breaths, see if you can get that. And if you can, then we're good to go. Straighten your arms, take a breath. We're going to stay on the knees, keeping it gentle today. Here's what I'd like you to do. As you exhale, I want you to bend the elbows, squeeze them together, drop them to the mat, and as you inhale, lift back up. 2 more times. Exhale, squeezing elbows together, dropping them to the mat. Inhaling. Crossing back up. Last one. Exhale. Elbows are closer together than the wrists. You drop them to the mat, and you inhale them back up. And then you take a child's pose. And if you can do traditional child's pose with your hands back by your feet, palms up, that would be preferable here. You want your arms and shoulders to have a little bit of a break. Let's go ahead and scoot into Sphinx, lengthen out. And of course, you could take a traditional vinyasa if you prefer. And then downward facing dog. Just take a moment in your down dog without really changing or adjusting anything. Just notice how the shoulders and the area around the neck feel. They may feel a little different as a result of that last little move, those turbo dog knee push-ups. So now we're going to drop down to the knees. And we're going to come into dolphin. So what I'd like you to do is bring your forearms onto the mat and then reach around and wrap your hands around your upper arms. So it's so important to do this. You don't want your hands down by your elbows and you don't want them just brushing the arms. You need to be able to grab your upper arms. So your elbows are only going to be a couple of inches apart. And that's perfect. Interlace your fingers and press your forearms into the mat. And then push even harder so that you feel your upper back kind of puffing out, like space between the shoulder blades. And then relax your neck. If you're pressing through your forearms, your head's not touching the floor. That's perfect too. We're going to keep all of that in place and then just turn the toes under, take the knees off the ground like you would for down dog. Maybe walk your feet forward a little bit. I want you to push through your forearms, relax your neck, and press your tailbone up and back while you press your heels down. Don't forget to breathe here. Two more breaths, you're gonna make it. Drop down to your knees, move back into child's pose. Again, if you can't, hands back by the feet. And then scoot forward for one more Sphinx or Cobra. And then downward facing dog, and I'd like you to do it a little bit wider than normal. So you don't have to have your fingers all the way at the edge of the mat, but make your hands wider than usual. And press those hips up and back. And I want you to kind of put all of that together. So imagining, and you don't have to actually do it, but imagining that you're squeezing the elbows towards each other. Imagining that you're in dolphin pushing the floor away from you. All of that changes the way the muscles activate around your shoulders. Notice if that changed anything about your down dog. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Good. So we're just going to be doing a basic eagle pose, but we're going to start with the upper body, kind of opening up still through the back of the shoulders. Completely up to you if you finish off the pose or not. Arms are going to be in front of you, palms facing down. To begin with, we're going to take the right arm on bottom, left arm crosses on top of the right. Bend your elbows, and if you can, palms of the hands come together. Shoulders pull down, the elbows slightly lift, and they push directly forward, as though you're pushing the floor away from you in dolphin. You're going to feel that same stretch across the upper back. Take a breath here. Now, if you're having a really unbalanced day, you could simply stay here, but if you feel like you can balance, I'd like you to bend your knees. Remember, Garudasana is a squatting position. We're going to take the left thigh tightly over the right. Squeeze your thighs together. Drop the tailbone a little bit. Lift your chest a little bit. Don't forget to breathe. And unwind. Both feet on the ground. Release your shoulders. Roll the shoulders back. And then we're going to do the other side. So your arms are in front of you. This time we're going to have the left arm on the bottom and the right arm on the top. Cross them over. Wrap them if you can. If your shoulders are too tight, just having the backs of the hands facing each other is fine. Shoulders pull down, the elbows lift slightly and press forward. Take a breath here. Bend your knees. Take your right thigh very tightly over your left thigh. Drop the tailbone a little more, lift the heart a little more, and breathe. And release. Roll your shoulders back. And then I'd like you to turn sideways on your mat. Take a nice wide side step. We're going to rotate the left foot in, the right foot out. Bend your right knee. Arms are out to this side. Warrior two. Interlace your fingers behind your back and squeeze your shoulder blades. So now we're going to kind of unwind some of that upper back stuff. Squeeze shoulder blades together so the front of the shoulders can stretch. And if you feel like you can, I want you to fold right down the midline. You're going to feel right hip and right side of the low back, getting a little bit of a stretch here. Come all the way back up. Release your arms out to the sides. Again, straighten your right leg. Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over. It's a variation on reverse warrior. You're going to keep your right leg straight just so you get a little extra length through the right side. And if you really reach this right arm up, you should be able to get a little bit of this lat and kind of like think of it as the back side of your right armpit. Some of the stuff that's been working, right? Come on back up. Keep your right leg straight, kick your hips to the left, lengthen your rib cage out, and take triangle pose. So left hand is towards the ceiling. You want to keep your spine as straight as possible. Try and stay aligned over the right leg. Take 2 more breaths. And then just come on up, relax your arms, roll your shoulders back. And we're going to turn the right foot in, left foot out, bend your left knee. Warrior 2. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Fold, if you can, right down the middle. So you should feel this in the left hip, left side of the low back. And if you're squeezing shoulder blades together, hopefully you're also getting a nice stretch across the front of the shoulders. Come on back up, release the arms out to the side, straighten your left leg. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over. So kind of like a reverse warrior, but the left leg is straight. We want to really reach through the left arm and feel this whole left side of the upper back stretching. So your lat muscles, serratus muscles, all of that good stuff. Think of it as the back side of your left armpit. And then come on back up, kick your right hip to the right, lengthen your rib cage out to the left, and find triangle pose on this side. As much as possible, left side of the spine stays as long as the right side. Good, come on up from that. Roll your shoulders back and step back up to the front of the mat with your feet together and your palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up and lengthen. And then back down. So I want you to step straight back to downward facing dog. And you choose where you want your hands. I want you to put them where you feel like your down dog really is the best. If you feel like you can, take your right leg straight behind you and just press the hips back, press the left heel down. Right foot goes back down. Left leg goes straight behind you. Push your hips back, press your right heel down. Left foot back down. Drop to your knees. Feel free to wag your tail a little bit if you like. And then we're going to do the same thing in dolphin. So this is kind of the peak part of your practice today. Coming back onto the forearms. Remember, you should be able to wrap your hands around your upper arms. Be really particular about that. And then interlace the fingers and press your forearms into the mat. Push to lift up between the shoulder blades. Relax your neck. Make sure the head's not touching the floor. Turn the toes under. Lift the knees. Maybe walk the feet forward and press your hips back. So you're here in dolphin. If you feel like you can, take your right leg up. Hips are still moving back. Left heel is still pressing down. Head is off the floor. Right foot down. Left leg up. Press your hips back. Press your right heel down. Keep your head off the floor. Put your left foot back down. Drop to your knees. Hands are back by the feet. Palms up. Child's pose. Take a couple of breaths. And then scoot forward into Sphinx. Really pull your chest forward, lengthen, lengthen. And then downward facing dog. And again, put your hands where they feel best. And if that's wider than what you're used to, go for it. And if you don't like that, then you put them back where they normally are. You're just kind of learning what feels best around the neck and shoulders, what gives you space between the shoulder blades, and allows you to lengthen your spine to the maximum extent. Check back in with your hands, palms are flat, fingers spread. Hips are moving up and back, heels are pressing down. Take one more breath here. And then you can simply walk your feet forward and have a seat. And we'll pause for a moment in Dandasana. So just finding sit bones, lifting up through the chest. Let the shoulders relax, let the jaw relax. Maybe even close your eyes. Check back in with your body, with your breath, with your mind, with your heart, with your energy, with your intention. And then we're actually going to stretch out the neck and upper back in our forward bend today. So be mindful if you do have neck or back issues. But what I'd like you to do is tuck your chin to that little notch in your collarbone and start to slowly curl or roll down as though you were going to put the top of your head on your knees. Good. Come on up from that. Roll the shoulders back. You can keep your legs extended if that's better for you. If you prefer, go ahead and cross the legs. We're just going to do that nice, easy, deep side bend. So right hand is on the ground. I'm not mirroring you, so you're going that way. Right hand is on the ground. Slide the fingers out as far as you can without letting the left hip lift. You don't want it to come up off the ground. You want to really glue that down to the mat. And then relax your neck. And then take your left arm up and overhead. And I want you to do like what we did earlier. Don't be beautiful and drapey and curvy here. We want to extend the left arm as straight as possible. Extend the fingers and reach strongly while we're pressing the left hip into the mat. If you need more, you can bend your right elbow a little bit. But what we're trying to do is kind of get again into that left armpit, left lat area, along with stretching out left side of the rib cage, left side of the waist. Come on up from that. We're going to go for the other side. Slide the left hand out. Keep your right glute firmly planted. Take that right arm up and over. Remember, straight elbow, straight fingers, reach. And maybe bend the left elbow a little bit, but you want to keep your right hip really planted. Again, you should feel this, of course, on the right side of your torso, but also in the lat and armpit area. Come on up from that. We're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. Hands are right behind you. Heart is lifted. Knees are pressing out to the side and reaching down towards the ground. And then go ahead and keep your left knee bent. Extend your right leg straight out. Lean out over your right leg. Just take a couple breaths here. Wherever your right hand is perfect. Keep it there. Raise up. Extend your left arm behind you. So you're kind of making your body parallel to your right leg. Begin to bend your right elbow as though you're going to put your armpits on your knee. And you're going to reach this left arm open overhead. You're going to notice it's an even deeper side stretch. So you're trying to roll your torso open, keep the left hip grounded, reach through left fingertips. Really deep stretch. And then just let your left hand come to wherever your right hand was. Bring your right hand beside your right hip. Bend your left elbow, even if it's just a tiny bit. You got to keep that left elbow bent. And then twist and look over your right shoulder. Now you should feel this behind your left shoulder blade, maybe down the left side of the torso. Coming up from that, we're going to pick the left foot up and bring it on top of the right thigh. Flex the ankle, lean out again. Come on up from that. Hands are going to be right behind you. Press into the floor to lift your chest. Bend your right knee. Scooch up if you need to. So you should feel this in your left glute, your left buttock. Chest is lifted and pressing forward. And then just drop your right leg over to the right until the whole sole of your left foot touches the ground. And then twist to the left. So your left hand is behind you, spine is straight. You're either hugging your left knee, or if you have the mobility, you can get that right arm outside of the left leg. You're twisting to look over your left shoulder. As you unwind, bring the soles of the feet together again. Hands are behind you, just like before. Chest is lifting, knees are pressing out and down. And then extend your left leg, and you can just snug that right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. And wherever your left hand is, you're going to keep it there. You're going to rise up. Reach the right arm behind you. So now your body's lined up with your left leg. Bend your left elbow as though you're going to put your armpit on your knee. And then reach the right arm up and overhead. So you're trying to roll the chest open, push the right hip into the ground, reach through right fingertips. You should feel a super deep side stretch on the right. Bring your right hand down, put it where your left hand is. Put your left hand by your hip. So important, bend your right elbow. Even if it's a teeny tiny amount, bend your right elbow and then push with your left hand, twist and look over the left shoulder. And now you should be feeling this behind right shoulder blade and then the right side of the torso. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the right foot up, flex it, of course, bring it on top of the left thigh, lean out again. And then coming up from that, hands are behind you, pushing into the floor, lifting the chest. Bend your left knee, scooch up towards your left heel, straight spine. You should be feeling this in your right glute, right piriformis. Let your left leg drop over to the left. Let the whole sole of the right foot touch the ground. And then we're going to twist. Right hand behind us, straight spine. Either hug your right knee, or if you like, bring your left arm outside of that right knee or thigh. You're twisting to the right, looking over your right shoulder. Rotate back around as you take your right leg off the left. Soles of the feet together for the third time, but this time we're going to slide them way out in front of us. Clasp the ankles and just kind of nestle the rib cage down between your thighs. You can either look forward for a flat neutral back, or you can relax your neck and round the back. Those two versions of the stretch will feel slightly different. Coming up from that, extend your legs out. Give them a good wiggle. And then take the legs nice and wide. So nice and wide straddle stretch. Make sure you're on your sit bones. If hips are tight and you don't feel like you can sit on your hip bones without rolling back, then you might want to elevate your hips on a blanket or a bolster or a cushion. Because if possible, I'm going to ask you to interlace your fingers behind your back today. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, get that front shoulder stretch again. And it has the added benefit of preventing us from hunching or rounding. So you squeeze your shoulder blades and lift the arms and then press your chest forward. It's kind of impossible to cheat, right? It keeps us honest. It keeps us humble. So squeeze shoulder blades if you can. Keep your legs active. Toes are pointing forward. And you're just lengthening your torso forward. Eventually it will move down a little bit, but don't worry about that. Stretching out front of the shoulders. Stretching out inner thighs. Two more breaths here. Come on up from that. Release your arms. Roll your shoulders back. Bring the legs together. Give them a good wiggle. And from here, we're going to roll onto our backs. So go ahead and roll onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. So I want you to keep your right knee hugged into your chest and extend your left leg all the way onto the floor. Really hug the right knee in deeply. And then interlace your fingers over that right knee or shin, if they're not already. And start to slowly push your right knee away from the torso. So your arms are going to straighten. And then right beyond that, your upper back lifts. Only let it lift a little bit. So you want the back of your head to still be on the floor. Don't push so much that your head comes up. You want the head supported. Just the upper back is lifting. So it's getting a little extra stretch. Take a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and hug the right knee in again, nice and deep. Hook the toes of your right foot on the inside or back side of your left knee or thigh, if you can twist deeply. If not, let that right foot come on the outside of the left knee or thigh. You decide. Right arm's going to open out to the right, and we're going to twist to the left. Now, if you need to modify this, if it's still too much of a twist, you can bend both knees, and that'll make it a little gentler. If your neck is okay with it, your head should turn to the right. One more breath on this side. And then on your next inhale, you're going to come back up. As you exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. Bring the left knee up to meet it. Rock side to side. Keep your left knee hugged and extend your right leg all the way out onto the ground. Hug the left knee in deeply. And then if you're not already interlacing the fingers on the front of the shin or knee, go ahead and interlace your fingers. We want a good grip because we're going to start to press the left knee away from the torso now. The arms begin to straighten. Once they're straight, just a little bit farther, and the upper back and back of the neck lift off the floor. And that's what you want. So you're getting that little bit of upper back stretch, but you make sure that the back of the head is still supported by the floor. And then on your next exhale, just hug that left knee back in. And then you're either going to hook the toes of the left foot inside or behind right near thigh, or if you need it gentler, you can take the left foot out front of your right knee or thigh, whatever works best for you. Twist yourself to the right, let the left arm open out to the left, and let your head turn to the left. And remember, you're welcome to modify and bend both knees if that's better for you. On your next inhale, come on up. Hug your left knee in. Bring your right knee up to meet it and rock side to side. If it feels okay with your back, I'm also going to have you rock back and forth a few times. If rocking back and forth doesn't feel good for you, then just keep rocking side to side. Otherwise, maybe 3 or 4 times. Rock front to back. This is really good for that space between the shoulder blades. And then you can just come to rest on the back, hug the knees in. Now, from here, we're going to extend the legs all the way out, straight out. Want you to open your right arm out to the right with your palm facing up towards the ceiling, straight out from your right shoulder. And by the way, if you have shoulder issues, please be very sensitive as you move into this. We're just going to roll over on top of our right arm, leave it where it is. So hopefully you manage to get yourself face down. Your left arm reaches along the floor over your head. So your arms are at 90 degrees. And you just relax your neck and breathe. You should be feeling this as a stretch behind the right shoulder blade. On your next inhale, just roll onto your back again. Open your left arm out to the left. Palm is facing up. Your left arm is straight out from your left shoulder. You're just going to roll over on top of your left arm. The same thing, your right arm reaches over your head along the floor. You're trying to get your stomach flat, basically. Neck is relaxed, and now you're stretching behind your left shoulder blade. And then on your next inhale, just roll back onto your back. You can hug your knees in, rock side to side. Today, you get to completely choose your own inversion. So just a reminder, an inversion means your abdominal organs are higher than your heart, or your heart is higher than your head, or both. And you've already done a lot of inverting today. So just for the record, downward facing dog is an inversion. Dolphin is an inversion. So is a standing forward bend. So if you need to take it easy, you could put a block under your hips and have a supported bridge or legs up the wall without the wall. Or you could just do bridge, or you could do shoulder stand, or you could do plow. I want you to choose whatever is best for you today. But once you're in it, 6 very slow, deep breaths. All right, off you go. When you've had all 6 breaths, and please take your time with that, you'll just roll back down or lower your backside or remove the block, whatever the case may be. Hug your knees in, rock side to side. And then we're going to separate the knees, reach from the inside, grab the arches of the feet, try and get your lower legs vertical, full dead bug. So I want you to pull the soles of the feet straight down towards the mat. Try and flatten out your tailbone. Now that may not happen, but that's just the action that you're taking because that helps stabilize your spine. Take a few breaths here. And then grab the outside edges of your feet. Begin to wiggle and move a little bit. Happy baby. So now it's pretty obvious what the difference between dead bug and happy baby is, right? Happy babies move. So get some good movement in. Double check your lower body. So even though we worked with dolphin and down dog, which is a lot of upper body, your legs were also getting it, right? Both of those poses stretch your hamstrings and your calves. And we also did that reverse warrior variation in triangle. So just kind of play with your legs, see what feels good, any other movements that you need before your relaxation. And then when you feel like you're ready, you can just bring your feet together on the mat. Knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. Knees are together as well. We're just going to do that gentle hip roll. So as you exhale, both knees drop maybe a little, maybe a lot to one side. You inhale them back up. And as you exhale, they both drop the other way. And you just keep going. Nice, slow breathing so that you've got slow movement. We'll go one more time on each side, or whatever it is that will make you feel even. And then when you are ready, the soles of the feet are going to come together on the mat while the knees drop away from each other. We're going to pause for a moment. I want you to slide your arms along the floor until they're over your head, on the floor over your head. Interlace your fingers, but extend your index fingers. It's our last little upper body stretch. As you inhale, reach your knees strongly for the floor and reach very strongly through your index fingers. Last time you should feel those lats stretch, sides of the waist stretch, but they're straight. Take 2 more breaths here. And then the next time you exhale, just relax your whole body. Let your arms slide back down so they're below your heart, kind of like you're going to get the upper body ready for Shavasana, which you sort of are. And then with your legs still in this position, as you next breathe in, I want you to press your low back into the mat. So tilt the pelvis back, take the curve out of the low back, hold it while you breathe. The next time you breathe out, just relax. You'll feel that curve come back into your spine. One more time, inhale, flatten the back. And then exhale and release and extend your legs. Wiggle them if you need to. Make sure your glutes are relaxed. The spine feels long. And then I want you to make sure that you feel space between your shoulder blades, space between the ears and shoulders. Your hands are below your heart, preferably with the palms facing up towards the ceiling. Your neck is long. There's some space between your teeth because your jaw is relaxed. Your eyes are gently closed, your forehead is smooth. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. Just give your body permission to completely let go. You'll notice that as your body's letting go, your breath is also letting go because you need less oxygen when you're completely relaxed. So the more relaxed you get, the softer, shallower, gentler, quieter, and more even your breath becomes. Notice that your thoughts just kind of recede into the background. And I want you to bring your attention, your awareness, to the space between your shoulder blades. Think of it as the back side of your heart. I want you to feel how that's connected to the earth. I want you to feel the front side of your heart now, the center of your chest, and feel how that's connected to literally everything else. I want you to imagine the color green, a beautiful, rich green, at your heart center. And it's almost like an hourglass shape that's turned on its side, or you can think of it like the infinity symbol. Or you could think of it as two funnels joined together with the narrow ends, which really is probably more correct. And each of the larger ends of these funnels are pointing towards the front of the heart, towards the back of the heart. So you have one that's connected to the floor, and beneath that the earth, and it's bright green, bright, rich green. And then it narrows down in the center of the chest, and then it widens again towards the front of the chest, pointing towards the rest of the world. And that's also a beautiful, rich, and vibrant green. Green is the color of the energy at our heart center. You'll notice predominantly, before we mess with things, it's the color of the earth as well. Green is growth, it's plant life, it's where we get our oxygen, it's where we get our life. So I want you to imagine that on the back side of this dual funnel, you are drawing in energy from the earth. It concentrates in your heart center. In other words, the bulk of it stays right in the center. You get to keep that. And then it funnels back out through the front side to the rest of the world. So we draw in the love and life force that we need. We keep and maintain as much of it as necessary, and any excess, we share that with the rest of the world. So for the next few breaths, I want you to just feel that, imagine that, drawing energy in through the back of the heart, keeping what you need, and then sharing the rest of it with the world through the front side of the heart. Begin to feel back into your body, noticing how your body feels. Check in with your breath. Check in with your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. Just the whole package. And then start to deepen your breath. Start to move the fingers and toes a little bit. Take that deeper inhale. Spread your fingers and toes. Exhale through the mouth. Relax them. Even deeper breath in. Stretching through arms and legs. Lengthening yourself out and exhaling and relaxing. Bend your knees, either hugging them into your chest or just letting your feet be on the floor. And then roll to your right side. Rest there for a breath. And then press yourself up into sitting. So as you come to your seated position, find that same aligned, comfortable spine that you had at the beginning of practice. Kind of compare this state to the state that you felt at the beginning of practice, and hopefully something has changed. So for our breath work today, we're just going to be doing really slow, deep Ujjayi breaths. I don't want you to worry about the count or the length. I want you to feel the breath. So I want you to feel yourself expanding, expanding, expanding as you inhale. And I want yourself to feel that contraction, everything shrinking back down. Just being very present with the physical sensations of a very full inhale and an absolutely complete exhale. So that means at the end of the exhale, you're even kind of pulling your navel in to get that last little bit of residual air out. Off you go. One more breath like that. And then just let your breath return to normal. And bring palms together in front of the heart. Just taking a moment in gratitude. Gratitude that we have this awareness of ourselves. That we have this awareness of energy and life. That we can feel where we get our energy from and where we spend our energy. And perhaps we can begin to learn to control that. Gratitude for this breath. Gratitude for this life. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Bringing palms together in front of the forehead, we're just reminded to be present. Palms together in front of the lips, we're reminded to speak our truth. And palms together in front of our hearts, we're reminded to keep our hearts open, to be kind, to be compassionate, and to be loving. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.